Today I'm sitting with Mary Gachuhi. Mary is an international speaker with a PhD, a mother, and an author of 15 books, including a book called Living from Refugee to Freedom. Mary is a champion of living a life of freedom and has been an inspiration to many women here and elsewhere and abroad. Welcome, Mary, very much. Mary, tell us, why are you so passionate about living in freedom? What does freedom mean to you?
Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm humbled to be here and I'm grateful at the same time. As you had just, told the viewers, my name is Mary Gachuhi, an international speaker, and an architect of freedom. I call myself an architect of freedom.
Architect, that's a good one.
Architect of freedom, yes. because they actually help people create an extraordinary life that allows them to live free. And what do I mean by freedom? I know that's the question you just asked me. This concept, I call it my philosophy of freedom, is really about people realizing that everybody can live free. The world has enough for everyone. We live in a world of abundance, and that abundance allows all of us to live free. So precisely that's my philosophy. That's my philosophy about life.
Yes. With freedom, you mean freedom from things like depression and poverty and what else?
Yes, from anything that can hold you back. It can be depression, mental challenge. It can be like I was, in a domestic violent marriage. It can also be in a refugee camp. It can be anything. It can be, let me say, unemployment, anything in life, any difficult situation in life, you can be free from it. Yes.
Yeah. Tell us, how did you get where you are right now? You are pretty free, being a mother, having PhD, writing all those books. How has it always been like that for you?
This is far from how my life has been in the past years. As I said before, I was in a very abusive relationship that saw me leave my country. And I was pregnant at the time. That means I left my country when I was 3 months pregnant. To a country I didn't know anybody, to a country I didn't speak the language, and I became a single refugee mom. And during that phase of my life, it was the most challenging and but at the one side it was the most challenging, but at the other side it was the most building, the most fulfilling, because it's the time I realized my purpose in life. So I would say that maybe a small thing I would tell people about being in a refugee camp, it's not a life I would wish for anybody. It's a very difficult life. It's more like being put in the streets. It's more like so, because you meet all kinds of people in a small space. People who are hopeless, people who have been to worse situations. It was quite a challenging experience for me. But being the pretty positive person I've always been, it was also my time to bring out the strength in me, And my biggest motivation was really my son, because here I am, a single mom with no money, with nothing of my own. I mean, I had nothing. When I say nothing, I moved to this country when I had nothing, my passport only, and being put in a place in some bush somewhere and expected to be something, it was something. But by the grace of God and by the strength, let me say by the grace of God, I was able to actually create a life for myself, irrespective. Yeah.
So what was the biggest decision you had to make in your life?
I think I've made quite a couple of very tough decisions in my life. And one of them was to leave the relationship I was in. Being stuck in an abusive relationship is not, I always tell people, don't judge people in abusive relationship, because it's not always easy to leave. Especially living while you're pregnant is not one of the best things you do, especially people who come from Africa, based on the issues on our moral values, our cultural issues. It's not something for you to leave a marriage. It's something that needs a lot of critical thinking. So that was one of the decisions that that really put me to test. Leaving my country also, and also creating a life for myself. Being in a new country around a lot of toxicity was very difficult for me. I was afraid, like everybody else, if I live my dreams, will they deport me? There was a lot of, in the refugee camp, there's a lot of misconceptions, and there's a lot of fear. A lot of people live with fear. So for me, I realized that, number one, there is a chance for me to make it in life. You can always reinvent your life. That was the first thing that came, I learned, I realized that there's a chance for me to redeem my life. Irrespective of what I've been through, there's a chance for me to create another life. I also realized that you can always move to the other side of life. Just like there's day and light. Today you can be in darkness, tomorrow you can be in light. That realization was very critical in my journey to reinventing my life, because there's the thing, Carol, when you're around people who don't see the other side of life, you need to be very brave to see the other side of life. Because there's one quote that says, the people you surround yourself with dictate who you become. You understand? If you surround yourself with dysfunctional people, there's no chance of you becoming somebody in life. So I was around dysfunctional people who all they thought about, for example, was drinking, smoking, and doing all these kind of things. And for me to stand out and stick that, yes, I have to focus my mind on creating a life for myself, it was a big decision. It was a big decision. And I'm glad that I did, because through that, most of them were able to actually admire and start doing something for themselves.
You've shared in your book about some 7 principles that somebody can use that you learned during those hard times. Is there any other principles you want to share from your book at all?
The book is from Refugee to Living Free. Actually, it's my signature book. It's my signature book. I have available 15 books, but I've written more books for myself and for others, but those are the main books that are available to the public. And I've talked, especially in this book, let me say, among all my books, this is my special book. I call it my special book because this is my life. This one gives you the
story. Yes.
No fluff. No fluff book. This is a no fluff book. So I've mentioned a lot. If you really want to know who Mary is, that is the book to get. So I've talked about 7 principles. Let me just go. Just a quick one. Let me take you through a quick one. I've talked about changing your mindset. You cannot, I always say, you cannot think like a gazelle and expect to be an elephant. Okay. You have to think, you have to think how you want to see yourself. Always see yourself. Like, let me give a very good example. I'm a believer, and the Bible says the power of the tongue. I cannot be speaking that I want to be successful, yet I'm talking of I am broke. Language matters. The same thing with mindset. You cannot be saying yourself as a poor, illiterate, hopeless person and expect to be someone in life. You always have to confess and see yourself, think of yourself as being that person you want to be in life. So the other thing I talked about is mentorship. Mentorship. Actually, one of my books that I've written is about mentorship. Mentorship is key. Trust me, mentorship is key. Because during that phase, I have a mentor. He's called Dr. Will. Actually, I have 2 mentors. I've mentioned them in my books. One of them was a spiritual mentor. I call him Prophet Ed Branson. And I also have a career mentor who is Dr. Will Molland. He's still my mentor for now. Because a mentor he'll make things easy for you. If you have a big dream, you have to have someone that you can learn from, someone that you can emulate, someone that you can look up to. This world, you cannot operate as a loner. There's no room for doing things. There are some people who say, I don't want to, I want to live by myself. I don't want to learn from others. You will only go 5 steps. But if you want someone to hold your hand and learn from other people, it takes you further. I also talked about having dreams. You cannot expect to be anyone in life if you don't have dreams. And I can say I can marry dreams and vision. You have to have something that is your anchor. What do you want to be? When you were young, you used to be asked, what do you want to be? You would say, okay, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a pilot. You have to have that dream. You cannot birth what you don't have. A dream is like a baby. You cannot say that in 9 months, I expect to be a mother, and you're not seeing yourself, you're not seeing the baby coming forth. So you have to have a dream. I also talked about what is your why. Your why is your reason. My why was my son. What is that one thing that will make you be willing to go the extra mile, to give your all? You understand? What is that one thing that will make you to stay focused, for you to get to your dreams, for you to realize your dreams? What is that one thing? Maybe it's your mother. Maybe you want to build your parents a house. You know, maybe you want to take care of a sick patient somewhere. There has to be that thing that even if things are hard, is going to give you a reason to fight on. I also talked about becoming your own catalyst. A catalyst is something that speeds up. You have to be, like, for me, I realized that in that situation that there's no way. The only person who can help me out is myself. So I started doing things like self-development. I started mentorship, looking for mentor. I started working on myself. That is, being a catalyst to your own dreams. Most people wait. They sit and wait for others to work for their dreams, which doesn't. They wait 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and nothing comes forth. So you have to be your own catalyst. And I also talked about educating yourself. I'm just doing a quick review. Yeah. Educating yourself. I always say learning is unending. Life is about learning. There's no end to life. Even at 80, 90 years, there's room to learn. There's always something new to learn. So you have to be a person who is willing to learn, a person who is willing to be taught. You have to be teachable in life. Yeah. So precisely that's what I've discussed in my book. I've given experiences. I've talked about I've given even pictures. I've put images, everything about my life, how it was in the refugee camp.
Powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff. Yeah, it is good to keep on growing. When you stop growing, you die. So
that's dying.
It's true what you said. Yes. 90-year-old people still have to grow.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and it's very interesting what you said about being your own catalyst.
Yes.
If you don't mind, just a little bit about that. How? Let's say some people feel like, there's nothing they can do to motivate themselves, to move themselves from one. They don't have the support. Yeah. What should they do to be their own catalyst?
Most of these things I've discussed, they intermarry. I can say they intermarry in the sense that it cannot work alone. You understand? For example, when I talk about being a catalyst, you must have a vision that will give you a reason to hold on. You understand? To hold on, to fight on. So for example, there are people, I can give a very good example. There are people who believe in being motivated by other people, external. There's two types of motivation. There's internal and external motivation. It is good. I can come here, motivate you. Hey, you can be whatever you want to be. I can give you all the big words. But if inside yourself, you are not self-motivated, we are simply making noise. So in other words, I can come here and be your catalyst. It's the same, it's the same concept. I can come here, tell you, Carol.
Just help to jumpstart the car,
yes,
but
you can do this.
You have to carry on going by yourself.
Yes, that's the thing. You, as much as I can come and give you all the information, give you everything, all the tools, but you as a person, you have to realize that you are the main player in the game. You are the main player in the game. So you have to be willing to push harder. You have to be willing to go the extra mile, to sacrifice. You have to commit. You have to have discipline. You understand? Nothing comes easy in life. That's what, not everyone was born. I wasn't born from a rich family. But I realized that there are things I can change. I can change. There's one chapter I've talked in my book that I said, there are things in life that you can change, and there are things in life that you can't change. You cannot change who your parents were. You cannot change who your siblings were. You cannot change your race. You cannot change where you were born. Yes, but there are a lot of many other things in life that you can change. You can change who you want to be in future. You can change how you write your book, the rest of the story of your life. So my story, I know when I put it out there, it's quite a vulnerable story, but I share it just to show people that your situation is not that bad. Your situation is not that bad. You understand?
Yeah.
You can always be able to create something out of it. There's a time in life that I asked myself, is there any meaning to life? I remember there's one time I was in the refugee camp and guys were, because in the camp you live like rooms, small rooms like this, it was like a former, actually it was a former prison. The camp I was staying was a former prison, so it was like a 2x2 room. One day I come and I find my room is open and everything has gone. You understand? Everything has gone. Like,
wow.
I mean, what doesn't happen in a camp? Everything happens. Everything happens.
At the time, do you have a baby or not yet?
I came when I was pregnant 3 months in the camp. I got my baby in the refugee camp. For 4 years, I was in the refugee camp.
In that little room with your son?
In that little room. That's what I'm saying, that I share my story to show people that you can come from nowhere to somewhere. By the grace of God, you can be able to come from being a nobody to becoming a somebody. There's nobody who we can say was born, even if the great people that we know. Let's talk about, for example, the founder of Apple. You understand? If you read his story, he started his let me say his company in a garage. Everyone has a story. We all have a story. But how your story ends is determined solely by you.
By you. You're the player.
Yes. You're the biggest player in the game. Yes.
That is interesting. Were you ever depressed? And or you did knock the door and you said no?
One of my books, I've talked about Mary's Motivation for Depression Survivors. Is one of the books that I've written. Mm-hmm. Actually, this week, as we speak, is one of the weeks that I'm actually giving out the book on big sale, because during COVID, there are a lot of people who have reached out to me. Most of my friends saying they're depressed. So this is a big subject. It's a big subject. It's Mary's Motivation for Depression Survivors, because I went through depression myself. Being in that situation, and it's not funny. It's not funny. Anyone, let me tell you, I always tell people depression does not choose. It can affect anybody. It does not matter your social class. It does not matter your education level. It does not matter your sex. It does not matter. Anybody can get depressed. I went through depression. I give definition of depression as depressed, but really depression is one of those, let me say, it's one of those conditions that you will not wish for even your worst enemy. It's a state of hopelessness. It's beyond stress. Stress, you can say, okay, I'm stressed. Okay, but depression is a point that you need help to come out of it. And this is the thing actually I want to tell people. It's good you've brought that subject. If you're depressed, or someone who is depressed, seek help. Seek help and don't stop until you find it. That's what I had to do. Seek help. Because most people don't understand that people who are depressed actually need help. Most people think that depression is just a fad. It's just a state of being. After what they think it's more like just a mere stress. It's not a mere stress. It's a deep sense of stress. So if you're depressed, or anyone who's going through depression, seek help. Reach out to anyone who can listen to you, to a health practitioner. Just reach out. Depression is real. I went through it myself. But by the help of God and by the help of other people, I was able to come out of it. So this is something that can actually affect anybody. No one is exempted.
No one is safe.
No one is safe. Yeah.
It is. It is interesting. We're talking about this right now. Just this week, Meghan Markle talked about her journey and her struggles with depression and what happened to her. And I understood what you're saying. People from all levels of life can go through depression.
Yes.
There's a perception people have about, people who've done well, people who are successful. But the reality of it is that they're just human beings, just like anybody else. Then there's one thing we have all in common, is that everybody's trying to figure out their life. And it can affect anybody. So
Yeah.
if you have any concerns or if you have any questions and you want to know more about depression, you want to know more about how to live free from where you are to where you want to go, how can people get in touch with you? How can they get your book?
My books are all available on Amazon. Of course, I can always attach the links. But my name on Facebook is Mary Wanjiku Gachuhi. You can always, drop me a message or anything like that, and we can talk. We can talk.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to have a book of your own, I help people actually. I help people write books in different packages. You understand, depending if you're a writer before, or you want to join a class, a master class, or you want me to write the book for you, I do all that. So they can always reach out. Or if you want me to speak in one of your platforms and encourage people, especially students or corporations, because I've written 5 books on students, because I'm being a PhD student and being a student of life. I have something that I know about being a student. So I wrote 5 books on being a student. And really, we can interact and see how we can help each other. Yeah.
So there'll be links at the bottom of this video. Feel free to click on them and get in touch with Mary and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching. Thank you.
Thank you so much.